And we're live.
Have you guys been following these Texas power outages and snow
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah. So can I
You want to lay it out?
what I want to do is do what I always do and like lay out my ignorant like viewpoint of what's going on, because I haven't been following it super closely, just like the periphery of it. And I want you to inform me, because I think in that way I'll represent like the audience, and then you can explain it to me. I think that's kind of fun. So like what it looks like to me. So for those who don't know, Texas has their own power grid, right? Like the United States, especially for those of you who are international, might not know this. So like we have a few power grids in the United States. I think there's like East Coast, and then the whole West Coast, and then Texas. Texas, like, we do our own power here. And Texas had this unseasonably cold weather, and the power grid failed. Like they got snow in Texas, which is very unusual. And if you really don't know U.S. geography, Texas is fucking huge. It's bigger than a lot of European countries. It's fucking huge. And when it went down for a couple days, that is, it was seen as a huge failure by like leadership and the power grid. And it's made Texas look bad. Texas is, of course, a mostly conservative ran southern-ish state, though it's leaning more purple these days because of the Latino vote. But what it looks like to me is that the right wing, I should say, conservative side of things, is saying that the grid failed because things like wind turbines failed during the cold snap, that it got so cold that their wind turbines failed, and somehow that caused a cascading power loss. Whereas the left, the liberal side, is saying this whole thing failed because of right-wing conservative leadership, and because Texas needs its own power grid. Like, and so I'm wondering, Woody, like, I'm sure you've got a right down the middle sort of like factual thought process on this. What's the truth?
It's 90-10. So 10% of the outages are caused by windmills, and 90 is caused by natural gas. So the natural gas pipelines, apparently they can freeze, and then the gas stops flowing. So they're primarily a gas state, a natural gas state. They have it locally, and that's how they power everything. So they posted up like, what it is the governor, non-Americans. Governor is like president of a state. And he went on Fox News and said, man, this is what happens when the Green New Deal takes hold. These wind turbines fail, and we run out of power, and people freeze to death. There are people dying. And the left is like, oh, hold up. 10% of this is caused by windmills. 90% is frozen natural gas pipes. And the Green New Deal is just an idea. It's never been passed. It's just proposal. You're acting like the Green New Deal caused this. And in reality, the Green New Deal could be a solution to this. So Canada operates windmills at negative 47 degree temperatures. So
is it basically because like being Texas, they don't have any of the fail safes for like uber cold weather?
So North Carolina, for example, sucks at snow removal. They have just found it to be not very cost efficient to keep that kind of equipment around, because we get snow that needs removing once every 10 years. Well, Texas didn't insulate their pipes like I guess they should have, and it seems like every 10 years or so. Like I remember I saw this thing today. There was an article 10 years ago saying this never happens the last time it happened 10 years ago, and it referenced it happening like it hasn't happened for 10 years, and then that referenced 10 years before that. It's not clockwork. Some of these are like 13 and some are 8, but every 10 years or so Texas gets this cold, and there's some political fun to be had. Like, so California had rolling blackouts because of high air conditioner demand last summer. And Ted Cruz is like, look at this failed Democrat bullshit. It was the first time in 19 years they've had rolling blackouts, but it happened. They didn't have the capacity. Yeah.
Oh, California is horrible. This is one of those wonderful occasions where I think both sides are right. California PG&E purposefully, like, they have such a stranglehold on our energy that we have absolutely no chance. Like every single year when we get our unseasonably hot season that happens every year,
right?
it is such a scam in this state. It's so horribly run. And
Do they
I think
shut your power off every year?
What's that?
Do they shut your power off every year? Do I have this
We have problems
wrong?
every year. We have problems every year. We have problems right now. Like,
What's your problem?
Even up the canyon, other neighborhoods are just out. So in California, everything causes us to shut down. If there's wildfires, which there's every year that we never protect against, like it's and I think I read this in Texas too. At every single point, everybody tells the government, "Hey, none of this stuff is maintained. Your forests aren't maintained. Your power lines aren't maintained. Your natural gas lines aren't maintained. Your windmills aren't maintained. So fix it." And every year they push it until it's a big clusterfuck, and then just blame each other and fly to Cancun. It's such a
so let me jump in. The thing I read said that there hadn't been rolling blackouts because of capacity for 19 years, and I can't tell if it sounds like I'm wrong because the thing I read was wrong. Is what it sounds like.
I mean, yeah, that might be right. The way they phrase it might be right, but California is every year.
Yeah, right.
fucked.
If it's not capacity, it's fires. If it's not fires, it's floods or who knows.
And they
what the
shut it
fuck
down on
is.
purpose. Like they're on record saying, like, yeah, well, we just shut it down. Fuck them.
Yeah, power got real expensive. It wasn't as profitable, so we made them hot.
But really done that?
yeah,
They
so
just said, "We're shutting down."
that I made up. So Ted Cruz was tweeting about how terrible the California government was, and now the liberals are having fun at his expense because the opposite happened. This time, as the liberals weren't prepared for the heat of California, which should be predictable, and the conservatives weren't prepared for the cold of Texas, which also happens. And it's funny. So almost all Texas is on its own power grid. One city's not, maybe El Paso, and it's fine.
I don't know.
It's far west. It's on the western power grid, and anyway, it doesn't have the problems that the rest of Texas
So
has.
are they basically going to be like, once this is over, like, phew, out of the woods, and then like 12 years, 10 years, whatever from now, next time there's a big blizzard, it'll just happen again.
That's
Isn't
what
that the
they
way
did
to
the
go,
last
though?
3 times.
Like
Yeah,
think
we're
about
gonna
it from a
go-
homeowner standpoint, right? Like, all right, your power went out.
Yeah.
First time in, let's just say 15 years, but I think this is the first time in longer. First time in 15 years. Do you buy a huge $10,000 generator and like water purification system so that you'll never go without electricity for 3 days ever again
Probably.
for 15 years down the road? Or and I guess like the one side of the argument would say climate change is happening, is becoming more and more
Maybe.
extreme. There's going to be a Texas blizzard every year.
So my answer to that, like, I like the way your head is on the cost benefit analysis, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth it? Part of my question is, how many people are dying? Like, people are worth a lot, you know?
Mhm.
Heck, even just cost benefit. That's like 40 years worth of taxes we missed out on, you know, and their productivity and all that. How many companies, how much industry is shut down because of this? Like, I'm curious. You know, so I don't know where the cost benefit analysis fits, but I do like
you got to
your
divide by
approach.
2 right from the beginning, because as Mitt Romney taught us, like only like 46% of people pay taxes anyway.
Touche. Yeah, that's a good point. But so here's where I wanted to head with it on the PKA slant with this. Did you see the Texas mayor that went in hard on his own constituents?
I did
Dude,
not.
this is fun. To me, this guy's so fucking Texas. And I don't mean that in a negative way. He's just Texan. So he tweets this out, or maybe it was Facebook. It doesn't matter. The strong will survive and the weak will perish. Let me hurt some feelings while I have a minute.
Oh,
No
put
one-
him on the ballot.
No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and the county, along with power providers and other services, owe you, in caps, nothing. He said that residents were looking for a handout and told them to accept personal responsibility for being left in the cold. If you are sitting at home in the cold and you have no power because you're waiting for someone to rescue you, it's because you are lazy, and it is a direct result of your raising. Bottom line,
How do you fix the power on your own?
quit crying, quit looking for a handout, get off your ass, and take care of your family. And-
It's It's funny that he's like, the government, the municipal, local, state, and federal government, it is not their job to provide food, water, shelter, or, governmental agencies to assist. And it's like, no, this is exactly what we pay taxes. What do you think you're doing? Do you think your job is just free so you can make smarmy posts on Facebook, you fucking boomer retard? Fuck that guy.
I'm actually on the other side.
People go start tampering with electrical lines like I'm trying to fix it. Like, I don't understand.
They climbing poles.
The mayor said to get off my ass.
I started siphoning electricity. I solved the problem.
See, I'm actually on the other side. In my head, I was like, isn't this the government that Texas voted for, right? Texas has no state taxes. Texas likes a small government. That's what you get. Like, if you're paying Connecticut taxes, you expect fucking Meals on Wheels to come along and take care of you. If you're paying Texas's lack of taxes, get off your ass and sit in the car or whatever it takes to get warm. Like you vote for what you want. You get what you want. Is this guy even wrong? I'm kind of pro Texas on this. Like it's definitely wrong. I'm in my, so all right. A quick aside, homeowners associations. I don't like them, right? I don't like someone else telling me what my mailbox needs to look like and stuff like that. But if you like that, then you live there and you make sure that your neighbors never have cars with flat tires in the driveway, right? You get the benefits and you pay the cost for it because now you can't work on your car in your driveway. I prefer not to have that. I am somewhat Texan in this scenario. These guys went small government. They went no taxes. They went this way. So fucking enjoy what you got. He's right. This is what you voted for. This is what you don't pay for. So fucking knock yourself out.
I like Texas a lot. I like the Texas mindset. I've been to Texas a bunch of times. I've driven all the way across the state like 3 times, like from east to west. It's a fucking haul. Again, for people who are unfamiliar with Texas geography, do a quick Google search what it's like to drive from East Texas all the way through West Texas into. We drove to Phoenix one time from, Georgia. So like, I love it. I like I like all the cities. They're all different. If they had legal weed, that's where I'd go. Like I really like Austin. Austin's my favorite city, but Houston and Dallas are both fucking awesome. El Paso's not a bad state. Where's the one where the Alamo happened? Because that was a cool little place as well. I can't think of it.
In my head that Alamo's a town name, isn't it? Alamo, Texas.
There might be an Alamo, Texas, but I'm talking about where the actual Alamo is. I'll just quickly Google where's the Alamo.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, if you're a European, drive from like Birmingham, UK,
San Antonio. San Antonio is a really cool place too.
So for European people to understand how big Texas is, like top left to bottom right, you drive from like Birmingham, UK, and you'd almost make it to Rome, which is it's a good way.
You'd almost make it to Rome.
Yeah,
it's a fucking haul.
United States. I don't know if you put the map of Texas, United States on top of it, it's bigger than the entire U.S. So just picture that.
The Alamo's not in Alamo.
Almost twice the size
my
of
dumbass didn't know that.
I've been there. It's there's not a lot left, but there is some stuff there. So I've been to the Alamo. It like I said, I did a quick Google search there. It's in San Antonio. Which was a cool little town too. It's a smaller, it's on the smaller side compared to certainly Houston and Dallas. Houston and Dallas are both fucking huge, but Austin is like this cool little hippie town with like I smelled weed the whole time I was there. I bet it's decriminalized there or something like that. And people were just fuck. It reminded me a lot of Athens, Georgia. For anyone who's familiar with that, just a real party town. I had a lot of fun there. I love Texas. And then when you're like out in the middle of nowhere, and there is a lot of out in the middle of nowhere, like everybody's driving those big fucking Chevrolet. I don't know if it's Chevy or Ford, but they make like a Texas edition. I think it's Chevy. They have like
there's one called the King Ranch in Ford. Are you maybe thinking of that?
It's the Texas fucking Silverado. Like it's got like the Lone Star thing, and it's like the Texas edition fucking like Silverado. And everybody's got those big ass like grill guards because there's so many fucking deer that they just want to be able to liquefy a fucking deer if they hit one going 80 out on the highway. I want to say the speed limit was
It's 80 across like a lot of Texas, maybe
Yeah.
85.
I
'Cause
think
you
it was.
gotta go. You gotta move if you're gonna make it.
I think it was 80, 85, like you said, which means that
always
you
the
can go
last
10
year.
over.
in the Super Bowl. That's their state speed limit. I don't know. That's the law.
I looked it up. All three of them have a Texas edition. Kyle's right. The Silverado is called the Texas edition. The Ram is called the Lone Star edition, and the Ford is called the King Ranch edition. I guess
King
it's
Ranch edition.
yeah.
I'm familiar with the King Ranch. It wasn't until I started like
Delicious.
doing stuff in Texas that I saw like the Texas edition Silverado, and it's just a big fucking sexy Silverado. But I remember one time I rented. I was going to do this explosives class, and so it was just me, and I was going to be at some guy's farm learning explosives for a week. So there was no reason to get a good rental car, and so I rented like a Nissan Sentra or something, like a small like Japanese car, and the speed limit was 80 or 85, and so I went 90 or 95, and that car was just like, ah! Like 95 was it was like that scene from Terminator 2 where they're like telling Schwarzenegger to go faster, because the evil Terminator's chasing him and he's in some piece of shit pickup truck. He's like, this is the vehicle's maximum speed. That's exact. I was like, this is the vehicle's maximum fucking speed, and people are passing you. Like I'm going 90, 95, and people are zoom.
Damn.
It's
It's
great.
like the Autobahn.
Love Texas. It's like a little bit because you're in the middle of fucking nowhere, and the roads are flat, and you could see for 3 miles ahead. And during the daytime, there's no wildlife to jump in front of you. It's great. Love Texas.
Well, I
Not so
love
good.
that this is happening to Texas. I hate Texas.
I didn't expect
deserve it.
that.
I'm glad that all their cars are getting fucked up by frozen pipes. I love it. I hope it ruins all their pool tables. I hope all their
Live in
fatheads
Texas.
cut off the wall. Fuck you if you're into they cheated at the World Series. They cheated us out of the World Series, and they know it. So every Astros fan deserves to go to hell.
I hope frozen tumbleweeds kill their dogs.
They all belong in jail. Every Astros fan belongs in federal prison for that. And number two, I have been hearing nonstop about how I'm a cuck or a loser for living in California, and they always throw the power shit in my face, like, "Oh, Dick, you're such an F slur for living in Cal. When are you going to lose that? When are you going to leave that lame state? They can't even keep their power on." And now we see it's not so fucking hard, is it? It turns out that whether you give your government all of your money, like in California, or you give them none of your money, they still can't do the basic thing, which is keep the power on. That's all you have to do. Just shut up and keep the power on, no matter what. No matter what. This should put to bed the entire debate of the function of government in the United States, which is that it exists only to fuck you, because they cannot no matter what. If you give them no money or all of your money, 10, 12, 14%, even if you leave the state, California will send a brute squad from LA to go to the new state and take money from you. That's how much, that's the state of taxation in California. So no matter what, they cannot keep the power on. As long as we're all clear on that. It's not.
So no matter what, they can't get it done. Even the most
No
basic
matter what,
thing, which
they
is
can't get it done.
water
They
and
can't get it
electricity.
done.
Yeah,
Like,
they should-
that's a nice. Oh, you guys are having a parade. What about the power? Let's hear about the power lines. How about that natural gas shit? How the fucking windmills do it? I hate the windmills too, but are they gonna work next time it freezes? Ted Cruz, why don't you go back to your office and just read one report from an actual engineer? Or how about we just liquidate the lot of you and put only engineers in charge, whose only job it is to keep power functioning in the next.
I left that out of the summary. So Ted Cruz, if people don't know, is the senator from Texas. And he also had some fun at California's expense when their power went out. And
Hilarious.
when Texas's power went out, he took his family on a plane to Cancun. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I do know that the Senate is on vacation this week. So my suspicion is this was a planned vacation, that like he didn't just hightail because it's cold. My suspicion is this was a planned vacation because it was a planned Senate break.
Oh, I'm sure it was, but it's a really stupid move.
It was. Now, so
Taylor,
there's.
you try to tell your wife that you're not taking a vacation when you'd come back here in 5 years and try think about this happening in your house. Your home is flooded, and you're like, honey, we can't go to Cancun. You know that Cancun vacation we planned for a long time after the election? We've been talking about it. We can't go because it's cold.
Ted
My
Cruz.
marriage is going to go way better than that fucker Ted Cruz's.
Probably. Ted Cruz came home the next night. He was only gone for a day. I don't know if his family came home. That's
no, they stayed on the vacation.
I hope so. And also, when I like that, I don't know. Like, look, whatever you think of Ted Cruz, his wife and kids are not part of this, right? So just leave them out.
Well, they already paid for it. There's no reason for them to miss out on Cancun. But he's just a dumbass for. And then did he try and flip it when he came back? Like, I was always intending to bring 5 shirts and a bunch of pairs of shorts and golf clubs so I could drop them off and come back. What's the big deal?
Yeah, he came back and he said, well, you know how everybody always says you brought the weather with you? I was going to do that.
He didn't say that, did he? Did he say that?
I hate Ted Cruz so much. What's the room sentiment on Ted Cruz? God,
they take him and they just throw him in a cage next to those kids at the border. Sorry, you got to hang out here for 2 weeks until we know you're clean, Mr. Cruz.
The room temp, I think he puts his own personal political ambitions above what's good for the country. I think that's why he was like
So-
pro the
par for
stop
the
the
course.
steal and shit like that.